We had a little placeholder in there for you, mate. Let me just get rid of that.
I'm back. I love it.
He's here.
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll see how well his internet connection goes. He might be gone.
The pink, it's in the wash. That's why I'm not wearing it now.
What aren't you wearing?
It's not. It's in the wash. That's why I'm not wearing my stringer.
Oh, your stringer. Right.
Yeah, it's in the wash.
There we go. There he is. He's really here. With that.
How you going, boys?
Lovely Medallion connection.
Doing good.
Good, mate. Good. All right. So we got Ben on, my faithful co-host. Obviously, the big cat. I've got it here. Don't think I won't. And we got Chris, the Terminator, on with us today to chat. Do you want to introduce yourself, Chris?
Yeah. G'day, everyone. Good to be here. I'm a regular on the show now, I guess, but always excited to come on and chat.
Yeah, right on. Congratulations, Chris, on the New South Wales team announcement.
Yep, thanks. It was, it's good to get that moving. Josh has announced the first 4 that are going to be in the squad with him. For those who don't know, so that's myself, Tyler Feud, or Richard Hill, and Josh McMillan.
Yeah, tasty. As one
Great start.
As one of the boys said in the chat, it was a bit touch and go whether you're going to get in there for a sec there, mate. So we're happy for you. Sorry, mate, go.
It was a real stress for me, so it's good.
We're actually pretty chuffed Tyler got in. So for anyone that doesn't know, he's one of our local boys. Plays in the league, gets around Maitland and Medowie. So pretty chuffed about that.
Yeah, a bit of a pity selection there, obviously.
That's about it. All right. I'm guessing I'm the only one on the beers again. Now this one I'm pretty keen to get around. Reckless Brewing IPA. It's they've rebranded it. I don't even know where it's based out of. Mosaic Galaxy hops. Don't even know. But I got a local selection at the Lambda Bottle, and they were packaged on the 8th of the 10th, so it's like a month old, and super affordable. So if anyone likes their IPAs, get into this stuff because it is very tasty, and it's like $18 for a 4-pack or $16, I don't even know, but it's good stuff. You on the waters, Chris?
I've got some water. I can't say I was thinking about getting boozed up for this, but I could.
It's a good excuse for me. I've been doing really good, not drinking midweek, but I always manage to convince myself it's a good idea when we go live. So, how about you, Ben? What flavour kombucha you got, mate?
It does make it more tolerable, I hear, to be on the podcast with us if you get on it.
Well, it is.
I'm just running soda water, mate. Homemade. Fancy guy.
You've done well. You be warned, Chris. Once we get to the end of the podcast, I get a bit pissy and I start yelling at people, start screaming. That's when the magic happens. So that's all good.
It's true.
So we're on today. I actually messaged both the boys this morning about coming on. A bit of an impromptu one, because Games Workshop released some updates on their rules, which we're all pretty happy with. I was quite happy and surprised. What were you thinking, Ben, when you woke up? All your Christmases come at once?
Oh, I couldn't believe it actually came early. I did think the bit I was most excited about is they said there's still more to come, which I don't know if I'm excited about that, but just means they're releasing this early. But it just means that there's another thing pending, probably most likely to be a GT book. But yeah, I was pretty happy with it. It was good.
That's it. I think the thing I was most excited about was in the first little paragraph they talk about it's going to become a quarterly update. Do you want to talk a bit about that, Chris? Because I think that's pretty red hot.
Yeah, so they've been doing mostly 6 monthly updates. I mean, they change what they do like as often as they actually do things, so it's hard to say what they have been doing. But yeah, something like 6 monthly updates, which can be fine for some codexes, but other ones, something's broken, you gotta wait 6 months, or sometimes it might have come out just before the cutoff for the previous one, and then you've got to wait even longer. So yeah, it's I think a great choice to move to 3-month intervals.
Yeah, for sure. I think even 9th edition, I don't know, tell us what you boys think, but I feel like 9th edition, they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on their updates and how they were fixing the game. Was that just me, Ben, or did you get that as well?
I think that I feel like with the staggered releases of Codex has given us staggered attention given to the game, I think. And I think it's just everything's felt a bit erratic and disorganised, regardless of what reason. You've got a couple of conspiracies out there. You've got COVID being there. And I think it's obviously more likely the latter's true rather than anything else. But yeah, it does feel like we're just kind of, it's a bit chaotic all over the shop at the moment. They can't seem to, you remember 8th edition where they were just pumping books out, like, just solid, and then now they're not, it just feels a bit all over the shop.
I just had one of the boys, Tyler, just mention he can't really hear me. I just turned myself up a bit, Tyler. I'll talk a bit louder, see if that one works at all. If not, I'll muck around with my headphones a little bit. Can you boys hear me all right on your end?
Ben's a little bit louder than you are.
You are quite quiet, Dale, for me.
Righto. I'm not sure.
Could you turn us down?
Yeah, that's a thought.
That's why you bring me on.
There you go. I turned both of you down a little bit, so hopefully someone else can just turn it up. Tell us if that
down
works
then,
better, Tyler. Very good. So yeah, hopefully this is a sign of things to come, and that everyone pulls their finger out. Because I'm super pumped, because if we're going to get into a real rhythm, I feel, with quarterly updates, and it's going to be good fun when it comes to understanding when that happens, not being too shocked about it, because they're going to be able to do smaller updates, so hopefully they won't have to nerf anything into the ground in one go, because they'll have another chance to have another go at it in 3 months. So pretty excited about that. But let's just jump into the changes straight away, guys. What do we got here? Balance data slate. Now the first one, and I think this is a pretty tasty little one. When mustering your army for a match play game, it cannot include more than one aircraft model if you're playing a combat patrol or incursion size, and the one that's important for us, more than 2 models if you're playing a strike force size game. So effectively they capped aircrafts to 2 per army.
I thought it was 3. There you go. I've already misunderstood something.
We're learning. We're all learning together. I love that. Yeah, so only 2. Does 3 down to 2 change anything in your mind, Chris, or is it? What do you think of the change overall, to be honest?
So I liked it when it was 3. 2, and we'll get onto this with the Orc Codex as well. I dislike that there are models you can own that you can't run all of now. So if you have three of the same flyer, you just can't run them. And I'm not a huge fan of that. Yeah, I don't know. Reducing the number of aircraft is good, but that's probably further than I would have gone.
Mm. Josh McMillan's jumping in with a sad day for pilots everywhere. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't even think he was planning on running a heap of aircraft, but he's a very compassionate bloke, our
He's
Josh.
just rolling.
Um, what do you reckon, Ben? Do you reckon? Because obviously the two factions that were being troublesome was AdMech. What was it? The Stratoraptor, and was that the main one they were running these days?
Yeah, it was mainly that and the Orc ones. There's a fit. I don't think people took too many of the AdMech bombers. I think there was always a one or two here and there maybe, but I don't think there was no one was spamming them too hard. I don't think.
No, you saw quite a few. It was pretty common to see three of each, and sometimes you
Still,
just saw the bombers. They were great. They were
Yeah.
very.
What was it? It was in London or England, wasn't it? They were really abusing the AdMech planes for a little while there, or just Europe in general. I think it was. They were because wasn't it? Siegs was running like combat stuff, and then the other blokes like you'd see quite often 6 aircraft just alpha striking people.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think it sucks if you got more than 2 aircraft. Actually, I got 3 Razor wings, so it hit me, but they're no good, so I'm not playing them right now. But yeah, I don't know. Yet to be seen. I think something needed to be done, and that might be the way to get it over. Do you reckon out of
I
yeah,
was a huge fan of the idea of them maybe limiting it by detachments. Do you know what I mean? So you could only you had to get like use the core detachment. So really, my way was like nerfing them heavier. Really, if anything, it was like a battalions you could take, but none in a patrol, one in a battalion, two in a brigade. So it's even worse. Really, it's more heavy-handed.
It would have been brutal.
I'll be honest with you. I feel like I. It's not because I don't like playing against them. I just don't really think. In my opinion, I've never really felt like they fit in the game properly. They're always overpowered or just terrible. They can't seem to get the rules right for them. I'd love to see them get the rules right for those flyers. So they weren't oppressive, but they were just good.
hard one. Josh McMillan jumping in the chat again. He reckons Game Center. Narellan got hit by the AdMech plane list. Who was that, Josh? Name and shame, mate. Name and shame.
Yeah.
Did you see it, Chris?
No, I just want him to name and shame. Yeah.
That's
I'll
it.
be proud.
We need to know.
Cool.
We need to know. Carl's getting in. We'll save that one. Right. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. I think something needed to be done. We'll just jump down into the Astra Militarum changes. So, change the save characteristic of Lemon Russes to a 2+. That's a tasty
Heck
little one.
yes.
You're all about that one, Chris?
Absolutely. Lehman Russes, you pay quite a few points for, and they die. There's going to be a little bit less D3+3 damage wandering around, but there's still going to be plenty. So I wasn't thinking about moving it to a 2+ save. I was thinking how many wounds would you need to add to a Lehman Russ to make it good? 5, 6. I think the 2+ save, I think they're still not very good, but they suck less.
Yeah, right. We'll see how they go on the weekend. I'm sure Tim's got a few in there. The second one,
Yep.
when using the tank orders ability of a regiment tank commander model, you can select one friendly regiment vehicle unit, excluding Titanic, within 6. Instead of selecting regiment Lehman Russ unit. Does someone actually want to decode what that actually means in game for me, for the layman?
Yeah, sure. So it means that your tank commanders can issue orders to non-Rust tanks. So you can order your Manticores to reroll once to hit, or something like that. I think the most interesting use of that is the full throttle order, which instead of moving, you can, instead of shooting, you can move again and advance with the tank. You want to put on that on like a Chimera or something is really good. Yeah, so lots of interesting uses.
Yeah, right on. It seems like a lot of those abilities that the guard always use, they always seem to be the good players seem to get the most out of them. Like lots of good shenanigans, so always good to get more of that on. Then the last one, each time a regiment unit with the voice of command ability issues one of the following orders to a regiment infantry unit, that same order can be issued to one or more friendly regiment infantry units that are within 6 of the unit that order was originally issued. Take aim, first rank fire, second rank fire. Blah. Was that capped to one per round? Was it, boys? Is that what they're talking about? You can now double up.
So each officer issued an order to a unit. So platoon commanders issued one order, and company commanders issued one order to each of 2 different units. But now it looks like your one order with the platoon commander can affect heaps of units at once. I imagine that each unit can only be affected by 1 order per turn still. But this is a big deal. You're going to get, a lot of mileage out of those orders. Yeah, very, very interesting and a big deal.
So that's a 3 for the Astra Militarum. They definitely need a boost. What do you reckon, Ben? Do you reckon? Obviously, it's not going to take them everywhere they need to go, but it's probably a step in the right direction.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, it's a little sign of how they're going to build the Guard Codex in general. That'd be nice. But yeah, I definitely like a bit like Chris with the Lehman Russ thing. It's still definitely not enough. But I think that it gives a bit more depth and a bit more stuff to play with and a bit more opportunity. Which I think is great. There's never a bad thing. I'm glad they did something to them and nothing at all. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they've got to touch it. Just going back to when we asked Josh McMillan who's to name and shame, we're actually name and shaming El Capitan. Josh Brody was the culprit.
Okay, he had 3 planes, I think.
Oh, 3. Come on.
So, yeah, he's a bit of the issue there, but didn't have 6.
He could have done better.
Could be 6.
Yeah, could have been 6. Well, apparently, here we go. What a bit more. Shame on him. He reckons no opponent scored more than 50 over 5 games. So, put the little bad touch on everyone.
Well, yeah, well played to Josh Brody. But yeah,
that's the type of stuff we want to see going into the ATC Championships.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on to Chaos Space Marines. If Carl's still in the chat, he was having a big whinge at us, wasn't he, Ben? About so the one change they made was change the Death to the False Emperor ability to read. Each time a model with this ability makes a melee attack, a hit roll of 6+ scores 1 additional hit. No 2 wounds, Ben. What's going on there? Still no love.
They're not going to get 2 wounds till they get a book. He knows that deep down. What's he kidding himself, thinking they're going to get it earlier? They might do, but I just doubt it. I would never build yourself up for it.
The real thing he's kidding himself about is that Chaos Space Marines are going to get a book.
That is very much true, because if they do World Eaters and Emperor's Children, then they won't do a book.
It'll probably be time to do another reprint of the 8th Ed Codex by then, I think.
Just squat them.
That's true. Squat them. They'll just open the books they haven't sold from last time and just dish them out.
Next year's the year, I've been told. It's the year of the Chaos Space.
Year of Chaos, I reckon. Yeah, I reckon.
That's the chat. All right. So we've got some points changes from Drukari. We'll go back to that. So this is the one I actually really wanted to know what Chris thought about this. So we've got Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights. All vehicle models with Imperial Knights or Chaos Knights faction keyword gain the following ability: Towering Foe. This model counts as 5 models when determining control of an objective marker. If this model's Titanic model instead counts as 10 models when determining control. And then the second little one, which goes with it, if every model from your army has either Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights faction keyword, exclude blah 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 blah, then all Armiger class and War Dog models from your army gain objective secured ability. So basically, they can kind of play the primary now. And I wanted to know what you thought about that, Chris. How far is that going to pull them up? Because I know I think it was Jack Harpster did all right at one of the GW events, maybe with Knights. So they already had a little bit of play, but how far do you reckon this is going to go, Chris?
It's going to go a long way, absolutely. So, counting as 10 models for the regular Knights is very significant. It means you pretty much need OBSEC to knock them off an objective. So you still can do it, but it's way harder than it was. The Armigers getting OBSEC and 5 models, that's hard to take them off an objective. Like, you need, 6 models, including OBSEC, to beat them there. So they're actually one of the best things at OBSEC now, going from one of the worst. And that's the area that army was the weakest in. So this should shoot them up a whole tier.
I think it might even shape the meta a little bit, because before you didn't really have to worry too much about killing them if you thought you could outplay them on the mission, but now there's going to be a whole different dynamic to it. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Ben?
definitely.
I feel like it makes me want to take squads with more than 5 people in it. It makes me, like, if you're against, like, not the whole thing, because I don't think Knights will be that popular, but if you have a lot of Knight players in your area, or you're going to go to a tournament, you have to, like, I feel like, you might get a few people breaking out the Knights now, because I think that's great. I think it's a great change. It's given them, like, such a boost in the areas they were lacking, and I think it makes you think, instead of having like 5-man troops and just throwing them on objectives now, like, you can't play that against Knights. You need the 10-mans and stuff there. I think it's great. I love it. I think it's just, I think there's all you've got to do is touch it with a big Knight, and you've got 10 OBSEC on there. Like, that's money.
No, it's not 10 OBSEC for a big Knight. It's just 10.
Oh, it's just 10 models.
Only the Armigers are OBSEC.
Little one gets OBSEC, Benny.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah, so it does, yes. Armiger class and War Dog models. Yes,
The
my
boys
apologies.
are pretty pumped for this in the chat. Connor Keane is commenting, very welcome change. Free blade. I've only had 1.5 beers. List is even better. All other lists boosted. He's been chatting up his Knights. And he's also
Even the Armigers is solid. Do you know what I mean? Just running one of those, and you're not going to be able to just. You're going to want just a slightly bigger unit against those ones. I think it's going to cause some problems with different
something else to consider.
You're going to have to gear up to kill them. I think some of them.
Connor's also commenting really strong in teams too, so he's already thinking about some teams stuff.
Yeah.
And then
right.
Yeah, and then Ben and Dan are already talking about 13 Armigers and 13 Lightning Locks. So there's some lists brewing going on in the chat already, which is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can only have 9 Lightning Locks, but nonetheless. Yeah.
The boys are just getting too keen. Tyson has come in late. Did I miss the chaos talk? You did, mate. Sorry. Not enough going on, to be honest. I think that was the general gist. Wait till next year, Tyson. That's the chat. Oh, here we go. Connor's coming up with the goods. Free blades already have OBSEC, so it counts as 10 now for a little Knight. So yeah, that's super interesting. Got some play.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more impactful in non-free blades, because the free blades already could get OBSEC, so they don't benefit as much. But yeah, boost all the lists.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm really excited to see what happens there. And I think even if it doesn't end up panning out in a few months' time, at least for the next month or two, while everyone gets excited about their Knights list and want to give it a run, you just better be ready to run into a few here and there.
So one little remark I will make on that is the Knights. Knights are already okay before this, but you'll see lists like what Connor was going to bring on the weekend, pure Forge World. You'll see like 3 Majeras, you'll see Lightning Locks. So if you've just got your regular Games Workshop Knights, they're still not going to be tournament competitive, I don't think.
Got to lean into that Forge World. I think Tyson's off then. He's not happy with the lack of a Chaos Space Marine chat going on. Sorry, Tyson, that's just how it is. then we move on to Necrons. So they just got core keyword chucked around everywhere. They got it on Canoptic Reanimator, Canoptic Race, Flayed Ones, Locust Destroyers, Locust Heavy Destroyers, etc., etc. So that was actually one of the huge talking points of the core keyword when 9th edition came out, because I think a lot of people thought it was going to be a very selective type of keyword to chuck around, and then Necrons didn't get much, and then since then a lot of people have got a lot of it. So would that be maybe them retroactively bumping up the Necron book, you reckon, Chris, to what the new normal is?
Yeah, definitely. Compared to the other codexes, they got really hard done by with the core keyword. And certainly wasn't expecting this change, but it's a good one. It's an impactful one too.
Connor's in there. I've heard this a few times. Race for the win now. I always thought FTW was fuck that's whacked, but apparently it's for the win. Just a little tidbit there for you. Old Boomer Dale struggling with the internet. That's the thing. I've seen so few Necrons personally. I know they do get played a lot, but there's got to be some depth in there with how these keywords work, that they're going to be so excited to go deep diving into making it run. And I think they still get a lot of play, the Necrons. So if this does have some actual play on the tournament tables, they could come back with a bit of fourth, and you'll have to look out for them, because everyone's got some, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm definitely not the Necron expert, but so I believe that there are a few significant things this lets you do. So Veil of Darkness to teleport a unit, I think, has to be core. So I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's opened up a lot of things for that. I think it might have opened up. What's the flying croissant transport thing?
It's literally
Doom Scythes.
The croissant.
Yeah, I think they can only transport core, and I think that lets them transport a lot of these things. I think there's a cryptech who can like reanimate a dude per turn. I think that is core. So I think a lot of these things actually have quite significant impacts.
I think from what I could gather is Necrons have like very few play styles that they can even go with a winning record at this point, or like their most competitive play styles are very linear and you do one thing. So hopefully this gives them the opportunity to branch out and do a heap of other stuff. So now we move on to one of the first big nerfs, and I'm actually keen for you guys to talk me through exactly what this means with the meta lists. So orcs, when mustering an orcs army, it cannot include more than one of each of the following units: Boom Dacker Snazwagons, Custom Booster Blasters, Mega Track Scrapjets, Rocket Truck Squeak Buggies, Shock Truck Stragsters. Ben, what does this mean for the Speedway? What's going on? Is it dead?
Well, what this means is you can't take what you saw is a lot of people going towards the scrap jets and taking like originally it was like 3x3 or 3x2, and then more commonly you're taking that you're seeing people taking 1 times or 3 times one of them, and it's just saying that you can have 3, but you can only have 1 unit, so you can't have spam multiple squads of them, and that's the same with all of them, you know. So, which I feel like it's good they've done something about it. I feel like they could have just said you could only take 3 of each. I feel like they could have just said you can only take 3 of each tops or something like that. I don't know. It seems a bit. Well, they just. It feels a bit ham-fisted. They could have just done it a little bit differently. But I mean, you know, I feel like it's good that they've done something about it at least. So I think that in conjunction with the flies is great.
Do you want to touch on? You said you weren't very happy with how they went about it. That's what do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, so I, just like with the planes, don't like that you can have a bunch of models that you just can't run anymore. If you've got 9 of any of them, or even if it's not 9, you might have 5. Those models don't exist. You may as well not have them. So I don't like that Games Workshop's done it in that way, and I don't think they needed to. I think they could very comfortably have just adjusted the points like they have with Drukari and Admech. So I think all players would have been disappointed if their scrap jets, stacker jets, and squig buggies went up 20 points, but I think they would have been happier than they are now.
What does it mean? Can someone still effectively field a speedwar to the same level that they can? Is it literally just got? You can only have. So I'm literally just trying to understand it live as we go. Can you now only have like, I don't know, half your army be that type of build, and then you have to fill it with other stuff because of the restrictions, or yeah, what does it mean for army building purposes?
So you can definitely still do a speedwar. So let's say you've got 2 planes. You might have still your what's the dude on the trike? Death Killer War Trike. You might have a unit of 3 scrap jets, unit of 3 squig buggies. I think I've lost my fingers at this point, but with so you probably have some custom mega cannons or something. They had some of that already. So that would get you probably about halfway to a list, maybe 1,000 points, a bit over. You can still take your 3 units of 3 War Vipers or whatever. They're still really good. And then yeah, I haven't looked at the other buggies closely enough to know how appropriate a replacement they are. So you definitely could fill out the 2,000 points, dipping into a fair few of those. It's definitely worse than it was. I don't know if it's still viable.
I think Connor Keen's really hit the nail on the head here with Orcs still excellent though, more room for innovation, land sharks, etc. So I think that's the one I think I've been noticing. There's a lot of even out with our local players, Forrest wouldn't have a bar of the speedway. He's been trying to make foot orcs work, and I think you can look around. There's a few OG orc guys that are like orc until they die, and they wouldn't have a bar of it either. They've been trying to make like not boys, but like just not speedwars work. So I think there's a lot of depth still in that codex. Maybe from what I've heard, it's not as deep as the other ones. Like it's not Drukaria or Admech level, but there is builds in there that I'm pretty excited for the Orc players to deep dive and make work.
There's also an Army of Renown coming out in 3 days.
True that.
For them.
Bikes?
So they're just
bikes, that's what I heard.
Like bikes and you can still activate freebooters through it too. So you can still take your flyers and your some buggies and stuff as well if you like.
Oh, that's
so.
Right,
only 2 flyers now though.
That's correct.
Good. That was about that looks quite. It's just like green Ravenwing, really.
Yeah, 2 flyers.
I'm not ready for any of this stuff.
Chris hasn't watched one of these yet, Ben. So we're
Oh, he's in for a treat.
Righto. So that is it for the main ones.
I just want to shout out Forest quickly. I just want to say I really love Forest list for this weekend. You know, it's strong, and it's completely different to the Speedwar. It's showing how much other stuff there is. Keen for it.
Me and him had a practice game a little while ago. Tyler was there just chaperoning, and so me and my Dark Elder and my not winning any competitive games in a year, but we're there learning, and we just played a bit of a cagey game up until turn 3, and then I misplayed a little bit of the way we both saw the game was whoever goes hard in one single turn and just gets a bunch of combats off was going to get it done, and he managed to do that to me and just absolutely wiped me by the end. I think we called it at the end of 3, so it's definitely got some play, and that's the kind of list that Forrest likes to play as well. So I'm excited for him moving forward with it. But yeah, we'll touch on Medell a bit later, I think. All right, so that's it for the changes. Apart from we got some points changes that we're just going to go to a different graphic for. I'll close that one. Righto, we got some points changes. So Ben, do you want to explain what's going on with these points changes? Because they mentioned something about
Sure.
they brought these forward, didn't they? So do you want to talk about where they've come from?
Yeah, so I haven't got the. I can get the article up, but basically they just said. Let me have a look. Basically said that they're giving us these early because there's more. So basically just pre-warned us that there's more coming. You know what I mean? So I think that's pretty interesting. So it means that we are probably getting, like, a few people have said it, that we're going to be looking at getting a chapter approved / that kind of thing happening soon. So we'll see what that brings. I say chapter approved, I mean monitor and field manual and GT pack. So
The start of many changes. So we'll quickly run through the Drukari stuff, and then we'll get some thoughts on it. So Archon went up 5 points, Homunculus went down 10, Succubus went up 20. So big one for the Succubus. Witch is up 2, Cabalite Trueborn up 1, Hecatrix Bloodbride's up 1, but then you stack that on the Witches, so they're up 3. Grotesques are down 5, Incubi up 2, Kronos up 5, Ravager down 10, Talos down 10, Radar 0, but then the Darklance, if you want to bring the Darklance on it, goes up 10, and then Razorwing down 10, and Voidrammer Bomber down 10. So Chris, you've been playing a lot of Dark Eldar. Do you want to talk a little bit about what this means for the list building for them? Do you reckon this will change the makeup? Do you reckon there's still good value to be had even in the stuff that's gone up?
Yeah, so obviously there's different answers for different units to those questions. Starting with the things that have gone up. So the Arc went up 5, that's fine, fair enough. Succubus went up 20, I think that's a really good change. I was worried that they would not put them up enough. So the base Succubus at 60 points is fine, but when you put Trip Ditch Whip and Competitive Edge, all of a sudden it hits like a 200 point unit. So they had to do something, so 20 is better than I expected. Witches going up to, sure, I don't think they were overpowered at 10, but they're very good. I think this change is in part just because they wanted to nerf Drukari on the whole. And so there's a couple of things which I think weren't they didn't have to happen, but they're fine in the light of Drukari being overpowered. Trueborn and Bloodbrides went up 1, so I don't like that Bloodbrides went up 1 in addition to Witches going up 2. I don't want to pay 150 points for 10 Bloodbrides base with no weapon upgrades. That's just not happening. Trueborn going up 1 was fine. I think you'll see a fair bit less of them, particularly in combination with the Raider increase that we'll get to. Incubi went up 2. It was funny, George was saying in the Discord a bit how he thought that was unnecessary and they're really expensive now. You're dreaming, mate. You're dreaming. 2 points.
Keep them honest, Chris. Shout out to the Discord community, by the way. Thriving.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was about to say how active it is and how good the chat is. They were going up at least 2. I think if they went up to 20, that's probably a bit much. They're a hard unit to balance with how hard they hit versus how easy they are to kill. So it's a fine change. Cronus going up 5 seems good. I probably expected them to nerf it so Dark Technomancer doesn't work on them. But
I expected more than 5 or something different. I thought 5 was very reasonable.
Yeah, 5's like a low change, unless they're also doing the Dark Technomancer's thing, in which case they didn't need to change at all. So, yeah, they might have got off a little lightly there. Raiders staying the same with Darkland. Sorry, if you put the Dissi Cannon on it now, it's actually 5 less with the Dissi Cannon, I think, because it used to cost 5 and now it costs 0. So that's that's nice that you can do that. Darklance Raiders are probably a little bit too expensive. I don't think it was a super necessary change, but again, as I mentioned before, they wanted to nerf Drukari on the whole. The win rate was too high, so I think they saw this as a chance to just knock them down a peg. yes, that's my thoughts on the changes that they did make. What about you, Dale?
Um, like I said, I thought the interesting was the Talos going down 10, when I guess only in the last month or so the thick boy is that what they're calling it now, the thick boy list. Um,
Uh, I haven't heard that one. I know Simon Goshwick's been running this sort of thing. He calls it the Meat Mountain.
yeah, that
Um,
might be it. I don't know, but yeah, so that's using lots of Talos and Kronos. So I thought the Talos going down was pretty cheeky. I quite enjoy that. Um,
yeah, I haven't got to the points decreases yet, but yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that was I found that interesting. Apart from going up, like I said, like you said, the witches and the blood bride's getting it on top, a bit sus. What I was going to ask, so I'm assuming you'd still definitely take one succubus. Do you reckon there'll be a lot of people considering the second succubus isn't worth it at that points increase?
You won't see them in every list, so you won't see both in every list. I think you'll still see two quite a lot. As I said, they hit like a 200 point unit. Um, they die like a 30 point unit, but they're still great. You'll still run them very often.
What about on the stuff that goes down? I already touched on the Talos. Um,
Yeah. So first, there's a couple of notable things that didn't go down and should have. So the Hellions, sorry, should have gone up and
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
Um,
Very
I was
sneaky.
very surprised Hellions got missed.
yeah, you see 3 units of 5 in not every list, but a lot of lists.
So good.
And I think the Court of the Archon probably
Oh,
needed to
super
go up.
surprised as well. Super.
Uh,
I might
there you
add
go.
I've got 15 Hellions and a Court of the Archon getting painted right now, so I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, you're cheering that they didn't get a nerf. So I think that was a mistake by GW not to nerf either of those. And then yeah, there's the points decreases, which there were a decent chunk of. You mentioned the grotesques and Talos, how they've been seeing play. Yeah, yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good. That did not need to happen.
Mm.
Um, you saw them a bit, nowhere near as much as the other stuff. But I think it was a case of like they're good. Some of the other stuff is broken. They bring the other stuff down, and now they've just brought the tails and grotesques
Mm.
right up to that same level. Um, I thought Venom's gone down as well.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the internet's lying to me, but
Yeah. So just going to check that because they're another thing with Raiders going up 10. You're going to see a lot more Venoms, particularly if Venoms actually went down. So Venoms used to be 75. Um, yeah, I thought it was 65 now.
so I heard them whinging on the old internet that they didn't go down. So, but I don't know.
So they've got Venoms at 65 base. Battle Scribe has them at 75.
Yeah, because they don't have the um, splinter cannon on the base, but it has to come.
Yeah, Battle Scribe has them at 85 with the Splinter Cannon.
It should be two splinter cannons.
Yeah, with two Splinter Cannons.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
so I think they did go down 10 points.
I got a feeling they stayed up. I remember at the start everyone was wigging out about how they wrote that, but you reckon there's an argument now between the Raiders and the Venoms just because of those 10. What my question would be, Chris, is say the Raiders get kicked out a little bit just because of that. Where's the extra Dark Lance going to come from? Does that -10 on the Ravager entice you at all?
Yeah, it does. Ravagers were fine before. I don't think they needed a drop, and they got a 10-point drop. So yeah, I think they're a perfectly reasonable option. The other main anti-tank you can look at is Talos with the Heat Lancers.
Mm.
I did just notice, yeah, the Venoms are still 75 points. It's just confusing how they come with one Splinter Cannon. You can pay for the other one. But yeah, so I missed that.
What do you reckon of so from what I was understanding, and I think this is the bit, that we're just going to drop a few things that have gone up in points, add a few things that have went down, So maybe a bit less witch cult, a little bit more coven, but the overall power level probably hasn't gone down as much as what they thought they were doing with the points hikes, because there's enough points down to cushion that blow.
Yeah, I think you're going to see quite different lists. I think you're going to see quite a lot of the Grotesque Talos heavy list, because that list has gone down 100 points depending on what you're running. Whereas my list I was running for the last tournament went up 200 points,
Oh yeah.
which is a lot. It's I think more than it needed to. So I wouldn't run that list anymore. Whereas I'm very excited to run the Talos Grotesque. So I think you'll see big changes, but it's going to be very strong when you do that.
All right, we've lost Ben, so we'll just move on. I'll get you to go down. We'll just go down the AdMech stuff. You've been playing against a lot of AdMech, because I know Tyler's been running them against you. You might as well just go down the list as is and just tell us your first little thoughts as you go down the list.
Okay, so my first little thoughts is that AdMech did get punched pretty hard. So we've got 10 points for the Marshal and Manipulus, 1 point for Rangers and Vanguard, but the Data Tether and Omnispecs went up 5 also. So with those changes that I've mentioned so far, the Marshal needed a points increase. He was a joke at 45. Manipulus, maybe a little unlucky to cop that one. Rangers are still phenomenal at 9 points. That they are an absolute bargain. They got away with the 1 point increase there. Probably the best troops in the game for their points still. The 5 on the Data Tether on the specs is that's a hit. But we're talking 190 for 20 guys with the Omnispecs. And the amount of damage they put out, the amount of buffs you can put on them, fantastic unit. So good stuff there. Infiltrators and Ruststalkers went up 2. Look, that's as good as AdMech players could have hoped for. They're phenomenal. Like I imagine people who run lots of them are a bit disappointed about it. But if when the Codex came out, you saw what they can do, and that there were 19 points, you would have been cheering. They're a great unit. Iron Striders up 10. That's felt a little unnecessary. They lost the core keyword a while ago. They were still good. Now they're probably just okay. Cerberus Raiders went up 4. They needed that. They were 16 points each. You'd play against them, and there'd be a unit of 9, and you'd put in quite a bit of effort to kill them. And you'd be like, all right, dealt with this threat. And then you sort of thought about it. It's like, that wasn't even 150 points.
I remember trying to deal with them in 8th edition with my Dark Eldar. And were they the ones with 3 wounds each?
They used to have 3,
yeah.
But 2 now.
So I couldn't even shoot disintegrators into them efficiently. I just gave up. I was like, I just stopped playing when it was.
Run away when you charge them. So it's a heavy nerf, but they are still decent for their points. Castle and Robots down 10, so that's cool. They didn't get the same level of points decreases that Drukari did, so that's unfortunate for the AdMech players. I'm sure there were some more Cult Mechanicus units that could have got it, but I don't know, maybe we'll see Castle and Robots now. I don't really know what they do.
They shoot a lot.
20. I think they're better in combat now than they used to as well. I don't know how good, but the fists are actually a viable option rather than just there for decoration if you put them on. The planes, 20 points each. Yeah, this was always coming. In addition to the cap of 2 flyers, I don't think we'll see many, but they're not bad or anything. I just don't think we'll see a lot. And then a few points up for the Logai and Artisans Holy Orders. So I don't remember specifically what they do, but I imagine they were the good ones, and some of them were very powerful, so that makes sense.
So like Chris mentioned, They took a pretty heavy hit overall. Only one unit went down, the rest were all up. Ben, we've been chatting with Tyler a bit, and one thing we've always been saying is there's so much depth in that book that when they do get the nerf, they're going to be able to work around it. What do you reckon? Tyler's been putting up some pretty different lists than what we've been seeing lately. Do you reckon there's enough depth in there to get around all these nerfs? Earth to Ben, you there, mate?
Sorry, mate.
Oh no, there he is. He's on a lag. We'll give him a go. Go away, Ben. Have a go.
He wasn't paying any attention.
No, I think he's on a big lag.
Yeah, I can't. I think I'm lagging pretty bad.
All right. We might say goodbye to Ben then. Ben. Yeah, he's lagging.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
All right. Tell us. Do you reckon they got some play around? They got some play around these nerfs or what?
Yeah, that's got heaps of stuff in their book. I mean, it is going to change. It is going to change the angle of it a fair whack. But I think that these nerfs here are going to change a lot of things in the meta in general, especially like when you go towards the higher levels and stuff like that. So I think there might be adjustments that naturally come throughout this list anyway. And I just think, you know, Tyler's mentioned some cool stuff in the chat that we've spoken to him about. Cerberus Raiders, they were a nightmare, absolute nightmare. I hate that unit so much. For the exact same reasons that Chris said. Flyers is great. I think there's enough stuff in there. Like there's the Corpuscari. You could bring Tyler suggested even bring the priests back out. Dune Riders, you know, they're not bad price still. So you know, there's stuff going on there. I don't think they have to worry.
What are your thoughts there, Chris? Do you reckon that obviously there's going to be some changes because you mentioned you won't play your list, or you're thinking about moving on when yours went up 200. It seems like these AdMech had a similar amount of points upgrades.
Yeah, so Tyler said his list went up to 80.
Wow.
So even worse there. You're not going to see. I don't think we're going to see any planes. So the strength of the sort of Seeker style list with 3 planes and then lots of infiltrators, Rustalkers and stuff was you have your 3 planes, but then you still get a lot of your really potent infantry. You can't run 3 planes anymore, but even if you had 2, you're just not going to have that massive infantry you had before. But if you take all the planes out of it, you do get a lot. They're still incredibly strong. They still have fantastic army-wide rules. They've got fantastic buffs to throw around, and their units are still great value, particularly Rangers most of all, but also infiltrators, Rustalkers, and a lot of things that didn't get changed, like sterilizers, and the Electra Priests, the Flamey Dog Boys, whatever they're called, all sorts of things. You might see people dust out some Onaga Dune Crawlers or Scorpius Disintegrators. There's a lot of play left in AdMech. They're still one of the top factions.
Right. Well, that's all the points changes. Let's move back to the main chat. So let's talk about it more as a holistic meta. Ben Brown's got a little question in there. We will get to that in a little sec. But Ben, do you want to touch on how you see, because you've just been picking up the Tyranids, they've just got their new supplement, and then the Sisters didn't get touched at all. Do you want to talk about how you think both of them sit in the new meta right now? Is that enough to bring the Sisters back up, these changes? And where do you think the Tyranids with the new rules, have they jumped higher, or has this just helped them get where they need to be?
I think Tyranids have got even, like, Octarius is pretty big for Nids, I think. And I think that this has just made it a little bit better. And I think that like currently as it stands, it's just great. It's great for Tyranids. Sisters are like they're a bit in limbo. I think the hardest thing that's going to be getting used to is we are going to get that chapter approved soon. So even if you do think you've got something, you are going to get points adjustments in your army. So I think it's just going to be a little bit unstable. Oh, and in answer to Ben Hater, no, it's not a coincidence. That's why I moved off him, because Sisters got worse and Tyranids got better.
So for everyone that's not watching the stream live, Ben Hader says, Ben Way, I see that you've jumped back to Nids and there's suddenly an upper army in the game. Coincidence. This has been a common thread, Ben, because you've just sent your Nids away to get a bit of paint on them and you've just got bulk Nids back.
Yeah.
Bulk Nids. What's going on, mate? Who do you know?
I don't know anyone. It's just the timing. It's just a coincidence.
You're just a lucky man.
Yeah. He's always up to something, this Ben.
I think so. I think he's got a lot of fingers in a lot of pies, does our Ben. That's for sure.
Greases a lot of profits.
So I think that it's going to shake up things enough to see a few GTs in the future, and a few results coming internationally. Probably of just as long as it's adopted, because GW haven't said this is doing. They're just recommending that people do it, and obviously most people are going to do it. Do you know what I mean? So there's just a few people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to," because they just bought 18 buggies or whatever it is.
Is that really your thought? I didn't know that.
No, there's just, you see a couple of people, salty people on a couple of comments and threads and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I think that it'd be interesting to see how it's going to pan out. I think that Tyranids, even after what I said, are an extremely hard army to play. I don't think that they're going to be taking out stuff anywhere apart from if they're piloted by people who know exactly what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? And have used Tyranids for a while. It's definitely an acquired skill. And Sisters, I don't think if the points stay where they're like now, and just say people do drop a little bit of indirect, I reckon Sisters will be in a good spot. But I think there's still a lot of indirect now. Hive Guard are even more of a thing. Indirect is just so bad for Sisters. I think it's really, really bad. So, and Grey Knights are still sitting there looking pretty up top, but their points pretty good. So got to see what that chapter of proof brings, I think.
Do you want to touch on the rest of the meta, Chris? So we've had Ben touch on the Tyranids and the Sisters. How do you think all these changes, mainly with the Orcs, Drukhari and Admech, and then all the new releases, do you reckon we're bringing the field a little bit closer together?
Yeah, I mentioned that I'm not sure Drukhari actually got worse, so that...
That's a problem. That's a big problem.
That is a big problem, because they weren't great into the Speedwire or the Admech planes, but they were great into everything else.
That's what I was saying literally today. I was like, whenever I was making a list, it was either how do I survive a Speedwire, or what do I do when the Admech planes fly over and they just start killing whatever they want. So yeah, I could see I think the big thing is, like you said, Chris, they're going to pivot a little bit their army, but the biggest thing is the stuff that was keeping them down was those two big armies. They're still going to kick the shit out of nearly any Marine player that isn't running that ultra memes list or what. Unless you're specifically teching to kill Drukhari, the rest of the meta is still going to get trounced by them. So you feel that as well?
Yeah, I think that could definitely be the case. We'll go back to Tyranids, though. I think Tyranids are a decent answer. Maybe less so if you're bringing all the -1 damage Talos and stuff like that. Damien's just brought up a good point about Ben there, which is very distracting. Anyway, so yeah, I think Tyranids could be a bit of a problem. I think Tyranids are going to be right at the top of the meta, and I think they're going to be the list everyone hates to play against. Hive Guard are oppressive. They delete stuff. They do so much damage now that you can give them exploding 6s to hit, reroll hits, you can give them extra AP on 6s to wound, you can still shoot twice with them. People are going to get sick of playing against them real fast. And Gene Stealer's hit like an absolute truck now. Ben's right that player skill is definitely going to be a big part of it, but they're going to be one of the top lists floating around and not fun to play against.
What do you think?
I agree.
What do you
they're
think
going to be
about
good. Good.
Grey Knights, because I've been hearing a bit of chat in the last month that everyone was a little bit worried because they're going to skip the nerf bat. Do you reckon they've elevated a little bit with this?
Yeah, definitely. It puts them amongst the top, so they're probably within a close margin to AdMech now, and probably around where Tyranids probably are. It's a little bit. There's been a lot of change. It's hard to say, but yeah, they'll be a real contender. I expect there to be points increases for Dread Knights and Interceptors. I don't think they're going to miss it, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right, boys. I think we might head to an ad break soon. Do you guys want to say anything to wrap up the little points changes GW has put on us? The one thing I'd say, and I'm most excited about, is that they've committed to a quarterly schedule, and that I'm just so pumped for that. I think it's 100% what Ninth is needed, because I really do believe the missions are good. The terrain rules are good. Like, there's so much good stuff about Ninth. The worst things that has happened to Ninth is Drukhari and AdMech, and if they've committed to quarterly updates and fixing any future versions of that, I think that's great. But do you guys want to just leave us with your last thoughts about it?
Yeah, I'm happy to say something. I think it's like going off what you said, Dale. I think that's totally correct, because if something does come out and it does turn out to be, when it's gamed to the most, hyper efficient something can be, or broken, or loophole wise, that that there's basically, as soon as a book comes out, there's like almost like a timer on it. That it can't go past this point with at least getting looked at. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like you can go, all right, I haven't got to put up with this for 6 months. I've just got to go for 3 months. Or you might be a book, and then 3-4 weeks later before the PDF comes out. So like, I feel like it gives us a nice little stockpile, which I think will make everyone feel. I reckon it will raise positivity about the game, if I'm honest, in more of a, as long as they're like consistent and somewhat thorough with them, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Absolutely, should be good.
Love it. All right, I think we'll go to an ad break then, and then we'll come back and wrap it up.
Buy some dice. They're pretty good. They roll lots of sixes. D6 dice. Etsy. It's on the Etsy store. Yeah, just buy the dice and click on the link. Use the code. Yep. DU40KL for 10% off.
Ben's gone again. He's
gone again.
He's a mystery man. He's always got places to be.
I'm just dad duty. Bit of dadding.
I know what you mean. I've got 2 cats. So yeah, I'm with you.
I've got a dog.
Same thing. I think so. Ben Hayter's just as we went to the ad break. By the way, buy some dice. Our lovely sponsor, the Dice King. So Ben Hayter has pretty much wrapped up the whole segment, which is my positive feeling. Going to tournaments feels less bleak now. I think the thing is, I don't think it was that bad in New South Wales purely because we haven't actually played that much. But I'm pretty sure in other parts of the world where they've been playing non-stop for the past 6 months, it's been getting grim for them. So I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for us. While we, I reckon we just go towards wrapping the segment. Oh, and this one also, Ben, there's demand for a movie review. I know you don't have one planned, but can you promise the people next time we do a proper podcast you'll do one?
I do actually have a review of some sort planned.
For today or in the future?
Yeah, I've got a review of something planned, and I don't want to spoil it. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so but not for today, for in the future.
No, not for today.
Right, no. You gotta ramp up for it anyways. Have
you
heard one of them yet, Chris? He's only done about 2, but he just. Have you heard one of his movie reviews, Chris? He's only done 2, but he just goes, he's a madman.
Yeah, yep. I would love to hear about one of the two movies Ben has seen.
At least he gets
So
the
basically,
meme.
what happens is I almost like black out. I go into like a like soft focus and start talking. Then I kind of tune back in at the end, and then I get abusive Facebook messages afterwards.
That's actually, I think that should be at the start of our TikTok, mate. We can just start by putting like clips of your movie reviews as the TikTok. That's it. That's
That always gets them roped in. They love that. The people, the guys love it.
The guys love it, that's for sure. All right, we'll quickly wrap it up. So we've got this weekend, we have Madawi coming up. How many people we got going right now? Ben, did you manage to sell that last ticket?
No, I haven't. So we've got 15, but I'll be playing in the ringer.
So you're 16.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be in the tournament. I'm just going to be playing the ringer. Yeah, so.
Always putting in the effort. You're going along, aren't you, Chris?
Yep, keen for it.
Keen for it. Oh, while we're at it, this is what I've been working on while I haven't been at the store.
Nice.
I've got another 2 tables worth, so now all of our 8 tables are WTC terrain. Here's our new
Doing the Lord's work there.
Here's our new forests. Check out these, Chris. They're pretty fucking
That is perfect for 40k forests. I love that.
pretty sexy.
Actually, having a lot of trees on it makes it really hard to play.
Yeah,
So annoying, isn't it?
but they're our new Nid forests. I'm pretty happy with them. So they won't be. They're only going to be Xenothold, as you can see. I got to get my magic boys with their magic airbrushes to help me with them. So look out for that, boys. I know that they're always keen to help out, but we just got to find the time to do it, don't we, Ben?
Yeah.
That's it.
It's hard, isn't it? Especially this time of year.
So obviously we're not going to use the points changes, but can we use the new rules for the weekend?
He's put you on the spot here, Ben.
You want Tim to have the 2+ Lehman Russes, don't you?
I think that's all it affects. Yeah,
Pretty
like
sure it is.
God aren't good.
All right.
You know, going there.
Well, I'm not going, so I don't actually get a say. But if you're actually going to the tournament and you want Tim to get his new rules, message the page. If we get enough groundswell, we'll let Tim have his new rules. I don't get the final say on that. I can see Ben's a bit worried.
Obviously,
Hey, if
we're not
everyone
changing
wants it, I'm
the
keen.
list.
I'm keen to do it. Ben Hayter's immediately against it. His closest friend.
Oh, what's Ben? Oh,
Immediately
sorry, I
against
missed
it.
that. Where are we going? Don't do it. That was it. Don't. He's I want to hold him. Then he goes, no, I want to hold that man down for as long as I can.
Well
We'll
said, well
see.
said.
So that's one vote. No, didn't Ben Hayter get a refund? He's not coming anymore.
No, he's coming.
Oh, I was gonna say no one gives a shit about your opinion, but if you're coming, Ben, I love you. So that's one vote against. But yeah, super pumped to get everyone back. That's our first Madawi back since ever. Pretty.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
You're going to Good Games the weekend after, aren't you, Chris?
Nah, can't
Nah?
make that one, Tubby.
Oh no. Well, that's a bummer. But if it ends up coming up, we've got the Central Coast event coming up. We've just sold 30 tickets, I believe, Ben. Sold out.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
And we've been in chat with the venue, and there is potential for another 10 tickets to come available. I'm not sure if we're going to push for that yet, but I reckon we might do a little bit of a post a week out then and just see what the interest is, because we'd like to get as many people as want to come along. But yeah, pretty happy about that. This is at a new venue, the Breakers Country Club, Wombrel. So pretty pumped to see the venue, and I know it's got the space to expand to GT and even major level events. So going to have a look at that is going to be pretty tasty, pretty exciting little opportunities. I didn't tell you yet, but I'm going to an 18th birthday party that night, Ben, so I will not be playing.
Fuck.
Not yours.
Were
is
you
it?
Are you actually invited to it, mate? Or are you just going in there?
It's family. I'm not what do they call it? I'm not a toolie. I'm not toolie in it. I've got to go. It's contractual. You all know I'd prefer to be hanging out, getting on the piss with the boys, dribbling. So don't act like I want to go to the 18th. Also, we got our shirts in. They'll be along at Madawi. Anything else? How Masters, Chris? What's going on? What are you running? Everyone wants to know.
What am I running? Well,
Yet to be seen, or
this weekend I'm trying out the Deathwatch Kill Team Strike Force.
Yes, Tyler said you bashed him up with that. Are you happy with where they're at?
Yeah, it's gone well. The two games I've played with it. It seems strong. I don't know why they put a 3 CP straight in. Every hit automatically wounds. Like why? But I mean, it's there. I like Deathwatch. I'll give it a go.
Crazy echo.
What's that, Ben?
Some crazy echo from Chris my side.
That's just you, brother. That's
I just
you
got
and
crazy
your
echo
internet. You can't
Okay, it's just good. That's as long as it's just me, that's fine. As long as everyone in the chat's all good.
I really like the.
Go, Chris.
Sorry, what's going on?
You alright? Go nuts, Chris.
I really like the way they can pick the chapter tactic each turn. I think that's super cool, super fluffy, great. I love that part of it. But yeah, the auto strat is super strong. I'll use it. I don't like what it does to the game.
Oh, that's tasty. Also, I'm just going to download it right now as we speak. Your bounty, mate. The Khan has not forgotten. The Khan has not forgotten about your bounty, Chris. What are we up to? 90 of the Khan's finest horses.
Yeah.
It's pretty tasty. And that's going to run in, if we get there, that's going to run into Masters. The last opportunity to get on top of that will be Masters. So we could have that bumped up to over $100 by then, hopefully. How's you been feeling having the pressure? Everyone breathing down your neck.
Coped.
Got through, mate. It's good to see. I'm so glad.
Right, I think we're struggling with a bit of internet here, boys. So we might just wrap it up. So got a lot of events coming up. Got Masters coming up. We're going to do a big preview coming up to Masters, which should be really good fun. We'll get a heap of people to come on to talk about their lists.
Really pumped for that.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've actually bought a ticket. There's probably only 10% chance I'm actually going to play, but I bought a ticket, so we'll see how we go from there. I
didn't even know you brought a ticket. That's nuts.
I've done really well, haven't I? Like to thank Chris for coming on, lending us his thoughts. Thanks for coming on, Chris. Anything you want to share?
Thanks, Chris.
Anything you're up to? Plug away, mate.
I don't know. You put me on the spot.
Shout out your gaming group would be a good start.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Overwatch. Big shout out to Trevor in particular. He was looking to get back into the game by buying a Speedwire, and that's gone poorly. So yeah, shout out to all the guys. Shout out to Sean and Tyler and Connor, who I get more games and do more chatting with than anyone else. So yeah. Good to be here.
Thanks for coming on, Ben. Making some time with that Madawi internet.
It's atrocious over here.
All right.
Electricity turns off in 15 minutes anyway.
Yeah, righto. We've got a lot of content lined up. So hopefully we should be doing a little bit of something every second week, maybe even every week coming up to maybe leading up to Adelaide Uprising. So
can't wait.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
All right, we'll leave everyone with the wise words of the Khan. Hooroo.
It is often said that well-fed dogs and nesting birds will always return to the homes of their masters. Isn't that right, MetaWatch? AdMech not broken. Get good, scrubs.